Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter 14. We're going to read from text 32 today. Would anyone like to say what we read yesterday? Any realizations?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
lots of realization actually. Very interesting topic. Yeah, we also heard about Citraketu asking for the sun, and Angira Rishi was like um, telling him about, yes, you may have a son, but he will be cause of the jubilation and lamentation. It reminded me of Daksha, I mean, how he was also praying for the sons, and he lamented later. They were all going, they were being renounced. So it kind of relates. We have to be satisfied. Yeah. But so we heard a lot yesterday, actually. We were seeing about the anxiety of Chitraketu Maharaj. Um, in spite of having a lot of opulences and great wealth. And then Angira Rishi, who is a very powerful sage, traveling around the universe without any engagement, he came to his palace, and we heard about he came by his sweet will. And then we heard about we heard about the etiquettes, how to receive a guest, and how King Chitraketu received this exalted guest by controlling his mind and senses, and that he sat on the ground by the side of the lotus feet of the great sage Angira Rishi. And Angira Rishi was very happy to see, and he congratulated him for his great humility and hospitality. And then he also inquired him about his health, and Angira Rishi inquired King Chitraketu about his personal health and the good fortune of his 7 associates. Then we heard about the 7 properties of material nature that is very much required for a living entity's existence to be happy. The 7 properties: material energy, ego, and the 5 objects of senses that are supposed to be in proper order. Similarly, a king, he is always protected by the 7 associates: his guru, ministers, kingdom, fort, his treasures, royal order, and his friends. And then Sukdev Goswami has explained about the interdependence of a king who is supreme, should not only give instructions to his dependents, but also the dependents must can depend on the king, and that the king should follow their instructions too. Through cooperation and mutual dependence on each other, everyone can be happy. I think this is what is required even in today's society, to be in community and help each other to rise above, to help each other to come to the right platform, to be happy. Yeah, yes. And also Angira Rishi asked the king about if his mind was in full control, because that is essential for happiness. Sukdev Goswami has explained that the face is the index to the mind, and a saintly person can study the condition of one's mind by seeing his face. And King Chitraketu knew that Angira Rishi is a very exalted personality, and that he was aware, and he told Angira Rishi, "You're aware about my condition, you are aware of my anxiety, but I would still like to talk to you about it." And he told about how he was anxious about not having a son, not being able to bear a son, and that he needed a son to deliver uh, his forefathers from the hellish conditions. And also he was concerned about getting pindas and oblations for the next life. And Angira Rishi, who is born from Brahma's mind, was very merciful towards him, and so he did a sacrifice. He performed a sacrifice, and he offered sweet rice to Twasta, and he gave the remnants of these foods to the first wife of Citraketu's 10 million wives, Krita, saying to King Citraketu, "You will now have a son who will be the cause of jubilations and lamentation." But Citraketu was so so overjoyed, he could not actually understand Rishi's statement. And I think Prabhupada is highlighting about Chanakya Pandit has said that material world is so polluted that one wants a son, not caring about he is neither a learned scholar nor a devotee, even though he is useless. But yeah, so and then Kritaduti, after receiving the semen from King Chitraketu and having the remnant of the food from oblations, she gradually developed in her pregnancy. We heard about how she was gradually developing in her pregnancy, and it was related to the moon developing during the bright fortnight.
Yes, thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. Thank you. So then we'll continue with today's Atha Kala Upavrite
Atha Kala Upavrite
Kumara Samajayata
Kumara Samajayata
Samajayata
Janayan Shura Senanam
Janaya
Shurasenana
Nam
Shanvatam Paramam Mudam.
Shanvatam Paramam Mudam.
Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, in due course of time, a son was born to the king. Hearing news of this, all the inhabitants of the state of Shurasen were extremely pleased. Rishto Raja Kumarasya
Rishto Raja Kumarasya
Snata Shuchir Alankritaha
Snata Shuchir Alankritaha
Vacha Yitva Shisho Vipre
Vachayitva Shisho Vipre
Karayam Asajatakam.
Karayam Asajatakam.
King Chitraketu was especially pleased. After purifying himself by bathing and by decorating himself with ornaments, he engaged learned brahmanas in offering benedictions to the child and performing the birth ceremony. So, of course, he's like ecstatic, he's so happy, so pleased. So, he's doing all the rituals and giving the charity. Tebyo hiranyam rajatam
Tebyo Hiranyam Rajatam
Masamsi abharanani cha
Vasamsi Abhrarani cha
Graman hayan gajan pradat
Graman Hayan Gajan Praptat
Denunam arbudanishat.
Denunam Arbudani Sad.
And to the brahmanas who took part in the ritualistic ceremony, the king gave charity of gold, silver, garments, ornaments, villages, horses, and elephants, as well as 60 crores of cows. 600 million cows. That's a lot of cows. Vavarsha kaman anyesham.
Vavarsha Kaman Anyesham
Parjanya eva dehina.
Parjanya Ivadehina
Dhanyam yashasyam ayushyam.
Dhanyam Yashashyam Ayushyam Ayusham.
Kumarasya Mahamanaha.
Kumarasya Mahamanaha.
As a cloud indiscriminately pours water on the earth, the beneficent King Citraketu, to increase the reputation, opulence, and longevity of his son, distributed like rainfall all the desirable things to everyone. So he wanted to get as much blessings as he could get for his son. Krishna Labdeta Rajarshes.
Krishna Labdeta Rajasesh.
Tanayeno Dinam Pituhu. Yata Niheswasya Krishrapte.
Yatani Krishrapte.
Dhane Sneho Vardataha.
Dhane Sneho Anvavardata.
When a poor man gets some money after great difficulty, his affection for the money increases daily. Similarly, when King Citraketu, after great difficulty, received a son, his affection for the son increased day after day. It's true, no? For us also, if we get something which we were really wanting a lot, then we we don't want to let go of it. We're like so attached to it. Matustva atitaram putre.
Matusva Atitaram Putri.
Sneho moha samudbhavaha.
Sneho Moha Samudbhavaha.
Krita dyute sapatninam.
Krita Dyute Sapatninam.
Praja kama jvaro bhavat.
Praja Kamo Jvaro Bhavat.
The mother's attraction and attention to the son, like that of the child's father, excessively increased. The other wives, seeing Kritadyuti's son, were very much agitated, as if by high fevers, with a desire to have sons. So envy comes in, we get carried away by our envy. Citraketur ati pritir.
Citraketur Ati Priti.
Yatha dare prajavati.
Yatha Dare Prajavati.
Na tathanyeshu sanyagye.
Na Tatha Ishu Sanyajni.
Balam lalayato nvaham.
Balam Layato
As King Chitraketu fostered his son very carefully, his affection for Queen Kritadyuti increased, but gradually he lost affection for the other wives who had no sons. Tap paryatapayan atmanam.
Ta Paryatapyan Atmanam.
Garhayantyo bhayu bhyasuyaya.
Garhayanto Vyayusuyaya.
Anapatyena dukkena.
Anapatina Dukkina.
Ragyash chanadarena cha.
Ragyasthanadarinacha.
The other queens were extremely unhappy due to their being sonless. Because of the king's negligence toward them, they condemned themselves in envy and lamented. Dik aprajam striyam papam.
Dik aprajam striyam papa.
Patyush chagra sammatam.
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 Patyushakara
Sam
Sammatam
Suprajabi sapatnibhir
Suprajapi
Suprajabihi sapatni
Sapatnibhai
dasim eva tiraskritam.
dasim yatirashkritam.
A wife who has no sons is neglected at home by her husband and dishonored by her co-wives, exactly like a maidservant. Certainly, such a woman is condemned in every respect because of her sinful life. As stated by Chanakya Pandit, Mata yasya grihena ste bharya chapriyavadini aranyam tena gantavyam yatharanyam tatha graham. A person who has no mother at home and whose wife does not speak sweetly should go to the forest. For such a person, living at home and living in the forest are equal. So Prabhupada is quoting Chanakya Pandit, who says, Chanakya Pandit is saying, you have a home, you don't have a mother, you don't even have a wife. Then what's the use of a home? Go live in the forest. So similarly for a woman who has no son, who is not cared for by her husband, and whose co-wives neglect her, treating her like a maidservant, to go to the forest is better than to remain at home. So because then the woman has no kind of respect in the household. She doesn't have a son, her husband is not caring for her, the co-wives are not respecting her. Dasinam kono santapa.
Dasinam Kono Santapa
Amina paricharyaya.
Swamina Parichar
Paricharyaya
Abhikshinam labdha mananam.
Abhikshabdanam
Abhikshnam labdhananam
Dasya dasiva durbagaha.
Dasya
dasya dastiva durbhagaha.
Even maidservants who are constantly engaged in rendering service to the husband are honored by the husband, and thus they have nothing for which to lament. Our position, however, is that we are maidservants of the maidservant. Therefore, we are most unfortunate. So they are lamenting there because their husband is not even coming in front of them, so they can't even serve him in any way. Evam sandayamananam
Evam
Evam sandhyamananam
Sandhyamananam
sapatnya putra sampada
Sapatnya
sapatnya putra
Sampada
sampada
ragyo sammata vritinam
Ragyo
Agya samata
Sammata
vrittinam
Vidvinam
vidvesho balavan abhut.
Vidvesho Balavan
Balavana
Abhu.
abhut.
Sri Sukadev Goswami continued, being neglected by the husband and seeing Kritadyuti's opulence in possessing a son, Kritadyuti's co-wives always burnt in envy, which became extremely strong. Comments?
I
I
think
think it is
there
right.
shouldn't be any.
Shouldn't be, but then it is. We do see, right?
Yeah,
sir?
I mean to say there shouldn't be any neglection. I mean, don't ignore and neglect anyone. Have that
by the
yeah,
king, by Citraketu, right?
yeah. Anywhere, I mean, no neglection should be there because this may we don't know if they are on the spiritual platform to not understand and let it be, because otherwise there would be envy and so many things may happen further on. Then there shouldn't be any neglection, I feel. That's all I feel. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm. But of course, I mean, when earlier we read about Chitraketu was very happy and he was doing a lot of rituals and birthing ceremony, I was wondering how his other wives were feeling about, he's doing so much for a child being born by his first wife. And yeah, there could have been envy starting from there. And then if there is neglection also, it really adds to more, I felt.
Mm. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Mm, mm. So that's why, we have to keep chanting, and we have to realize that many things are not in our control. So just let things be as it is, and let Krishna handle everything. Even he handled for Prahlad Maharaj, right? We have to have that faith in him. So I think what we read before, like if a husband feels that he's not getting that love at home, rather he may go to a forest. Or if a wife feels the same, it's better that she goes in the forest and she stays Krishna and stays in that Krishna consciousness. It's going to help a lot. Yeah. If you feel neglected.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we'll go on. Vidvesha Nashta Mataya.
Vidveshanashtamatayah
Striyo Daruna Chetasa.
Striyo
Striyo
Daruna
Daruna
Chetasa
Chetasah
Karam Dadu Kumaraya.
Garam Dadu
Daduh
Kumaraya
Kumaraya
Durmarsha Nirpatim Prati.
Durmarsha Nirpatim
Durmarshanirpatim
Prati.
Prati.
As their envy increased, they lost their intelligence, being extremely hard-hearted and unable to tolerate the king's neglect. They finally administered poison to the son.
Oh,
So the envies become so much that they, you know, so much anger. Krishna says that with contemplation of the objects of senses, lust develops, then anger, then intelligence is lost. So they were so burning with so much anger, so much envy. Intelligence is lost. And they're giving poison to the small child now.
they
So,
didn't mention the son's name, right? Did they?
not yet. I'm
Not
not
yet,
sure if
no?
they're going to mention it at all, but as of now, we haven't heard. Harsha Shoka, I don't know if he's called that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's the son's name.
No, but it's true, no? See, like how Krishna, when he got all the 16,000 wives and he took care of them. So I think it's not right on Citraketu's thing. He didn't take care of his other wives. That is not the right thing. If you're married, then that's your duty, right? To look after your wives.
Yeah. Yeah, true. He got just too
Right?
attached
Too attached to
to
her.
his,
The first wife and the son.
yeah,
Mm.
too much. Yeah, too attached. So I'll just add a bit to what Deepika said, like go to the forest. But well, Lord Chaitanya said in this Kali Yuga, because we won't be able to survive in the forest. So Lord Chaitanya says that we stay wherever we are, but we chant Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we
So, of course, this is just kind of, how in the Vedic times they used to say this.
yeah,
In these times, we can't do that. But
yeah,
it's better if you feel that some places, some environments, some circumstances, some situations are too material. We will get that guidance. Okay, this is not the place I want to go. Sometimes, Shilpa, I don't like to say this. Even sometimes when we go to some gatherings where there are chantings going on, or where there is some kind of, temple activities or whatever is going on, I strongly feel it's so material and I don't feel comfortable to be there. And I don't go. I don't go. I don't like it. I don't know how to behave there because I'm too sensitive to react. I can't control that. So I prefer to be by myself and rather do something else. I pray and ask for forgiveness nowadays. Before I used to not. I used to feel like, what is this nonsense, And I used to, just keep talking and thinking about what I shouldn't have been doing. But now I rather just let it be. And I'm like, I'm not even thinking about it. And I rather sit down and do my more chanting or reading Bhagavatam. But I
That's good.
feel that, yeah. So it's all thanks to you and, your guidance, and we are reading Bhagavatam. It kind of helps me, but I feel that I am maybe not right here. Sometimes I don't know. I may be wrong by not doing that, but I don't want to
You
be
can
in that
associate with the
place. Eh,
devotees. You can meet the
yeah,
devotees.
but
You can
exactly
go.
what I'm trying to tell you, that even though they may be devotees, even though it may be the right place I want to be, I feel there are material things happening there, So that really disturbs me. And I'm like, why are we doing this, and why are we talking about these things here? And things are not, so I don't feel right to be there. I don't know. I try to think of, okay, yeah, it's only going to be, about Krishna consciousness. It's all about Krishna. It's all about, like, how Sneha holds Dada satsang. It's very organized, very structured. I know what's going to happen next. So there isn't any room for any material talk. Even if it is there, it's usually during prasad, but I'm eating prasad, so I'm fine. I can take care of that time. But at times when we are in the places where there are some temple activities happening, where we have to interact with other devotees, there are material things happening, which really disturbs me a lot. And that is why I try to avoid to go to such places. When I know things are going to be structured, I'm going to hear some spiritual talks from some Guru Maharaj or something, I love to go. But if there are other things happening, some regular activities in the temple, which I have got, past experiences from, I feel I don't want to go there anymore. I just keep praying to God that please forgive me, I'm not taking part in it, but I just don't want to be there, because those places have those material things happening, which really disturb me a lot. And I feel, why is it even happening, even though we are devotees? So
Yeah, you
just
can
wanted to
go
share
hear
this
from
with you.
Krishna. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. You can go hear from Krishna Baladev Prabhu. You'll really relish it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Correct.
Here, when Krishna Baladev Prabhu is speaking, you'll you'll relish his
Okay,
lectures.
I will.
Right? Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Shrita Dhyutir Ajananti
Krita-dyuti
Sridhiti
ajananti
ajananti
Sapatninam Agam Mahat
sapatni
sapatninam
brahma
agamaha
Supta Eveti Sanchintya
supta
Supta eveti sanchintya
Nirikshya Vyacharad Grihe.
nirikshya
nirikshya
vyacharad
vyacharat
grihe.
grihe.
Unaware of the poison administered by her co-wives, Queen Kritadyuti walked within the house thinking that her son was sleeping deeply. She did not understand that he was dead. No mother is going to think that, right? Shayanam Suchiram Balam
Shayanam
Shayanam
suchiram
suchiram
balam
balam
Upadharya Mani Shini
upadharya
upadharishini
manishini
Putram Anaya Me Bhadre
putram
putram
anayami
anaya me
badre
bhadre
Iti Dhatrim Achodayat.
iti datrim achodaya.
that
Thinking that her child had been sleeping for a long time, Queen Kritadyuti, who was certainly very intelligent, ordered the nurse, "My dear friend, please bring my son here." Sa Shaya Nam Upavrajya
sashayanam
Shashayanam
upavarajya
upavrajya
Drishtva Chotaralochanam
Vishwa
drishtva
chotaralochanam
chotaralochanam
Pranendriyatmabhistyaktam
Pranendriyatmabhishaktam Jaktam.
Atasmiti apatadbhuve.
Hatasmiti apatat bhuvi.
When the maidservant approached the child who was lying down, she saw that his eyes were turned upward. There were no signs of life, all his senses having stopped, and she could understand that the child was dead. Seeing this, she immediately cried, "Now I am doomed," and fell to the ground. So the maid, she's seeing the child is dead already. Tasyastadakarnyabhrashaturam swaram.
Tasyastatakarnya vrishaturam swaram.
Dhanantyakarabyam uchakerapi.
Ganantyakaravyam purachuchakerapi.
Pravishya rajni tvarayatmajaka tvarayatmajantikam.
Pravishyaratmajantam.
Tadarshabalam sahasa mritam sutam.
Dadarshabalam sahasrapnatam sutam.
In great agitation, the maidservant struck her breast with both hands and cried loudly in regretful words. Hearing her loud voice, the queen immediately came, and when she approached her son, she saw that he was suddenly dead. Apata bhuma parivrittaya shucha.
Bhuma parivriyashucha.
Mumoha vibrashta shiro ruhambara.
Mumoha viprasta shiroruhambara.
In great lamentation, her hair and dress in disarray, the queen fell to the ground unconscious. Tato nripanta puravartino jana.
Tato nipanta
puravartino jana.
Narascha naryascha nisham yarodanam.
Narascha naryascha nisham yarodanam.
Agatya tulya yasana sudukhitas.
Agatya
tulya yasana sudukhitas.
Tascha vyalikam rurudu kritagasaha.
Tascha
Vyalikam rurudu kritagasaha.
O King Parikshit, hearing the loud crying, all the inhabitants of the palace came, both men and women. Being equally aggrieved, they also began to cry. The queens who had administered the poison also cried pretentiously, knowing full well their offense. Shrutva-mritam putram alakshitantakam.
Shrutva-mritam putram alakshitantakam.
Vinashta drishti prapatans khalan pati.
Vinashta-drishti prapatanskalanpati.
Nehanubandha shucha brisham.
Snehanubandha
shucha
brisham.
Vimurchitonu prakritir dvijayvritaha.
Chitoni prakriti dvijay vrataha.
Papata balasya sapadamule.
Papata balasya sapadamule.
Mritasya virasta shiroruhambaraha.
Mritasya vishrasa shiroruhambaraha.
Dirgham shvasan bashpakalo parodhato.
Dirgham
Shwasan
swashan
Bhaspakalo Parudato
kato
Niruddhakantho nashashaka bhashitum.
nirudakanto
Kanto
na
Nashasha
shashapasi.
Bhasitum.
When King Citraketu heard of his son's death from unknown causes, he became almost blind. Because of his great affection for his son, his lamentation grew like a blazing fire. And as he went to see the dead child, he kept slipping and falling on the ground. Surrounded by his ministers and other officers and the learned Brahmanas present, the king approached and fell unconscious at the child's feet, his hair and dress scattered. When the king, breathing heavily, regained consciousness, his eyes were tearful and he could not speak. So much lamentation, no? Because he really wanted a son. Patim nirikshyo rushucharpitam tada.
Patim
Shuchapitam
nirishucharpitam
Tada
Mritam cha balam sutam ekasantitim.
mritam japalam
Balam Sutam
kasantatim.
Ekasantatim
Janasya ragni prakritescha hridrujam.
Janasya ragni prakritescha hridrujam.
Sati tadana vilala pachitrada.
Sati tadana vilalapachitrada.
Pachitrada.
When the queen saw her her husband, King Citraketu, merged in great lamentation and saw the dead child, who was the only son in the family, she lamented in various ways. This increased the pain in the cores of the hearts of all the inhabitants of the palace, the ministers, and all the Brahmanas. So, any comments before we stop for today?
What a scene, I would say. I can't imagine seeing your own child dead on the ground.
Yeah.
Uh,
Certainly a cause for great, great lamentation. Can't imagine, as you said, right? Yeah, no parent can imagine that. And we'll continue reading tomorrow.
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki
Jai.
jai.